Women have no agency, I guess. They
Don't I know it?
Yeah, they can't make decisions for themselves, apparently.
So what you're saying is repeal the 19th Amendment?
I didn't go that far. Two women who denied being trafficked by Andrew Tate and his brother and insist they worked for him willingly are victims and have been brainwashed, Romanian judge rules. So I guess it's believe all women unless those women go against the narrative of the men you're trying to imprison.
I'm actually struggling to follow the grammar of this headline.
Yeah. Two women came out and said, yo, it's not true. We're not victims. And the judge went,
We were here.
Nah, you're brainwashed.
We were not coerced. We were here happily. And he's like, no, you don't understand. You were coerced. You were being, I don't know.
Okay, now this is a Matrix attack. I'm sorry. At this point.
Yeah, for real.
Because, and by the way, there
people are like, is it a Matrix attack against Andrew Tate, or did he really do these things? And I'm like, man, honestly, I don't know. Now that a judge was like, these two witnesses who support Andrew Tate, yeah, they're actually victims, and we're throwing out their statements.
Here's my confusion: is have the Tate brothers been charged?
No.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the ruling? What does the ruling pertain to?
This is why I'm like, at this point, it's a Matrix attack.
Because I'm all, by the way, and I've said this for everybody. I've said this for Epstein. I've said this for, but I don't know if you guys saw that story, the ABC producer, the guy who they thought was missing.
Oh, yeah.
And then it turned out that he was apparently like messaging kids on Snapchat, asking for porn, all sorts of crazy stuff. That show me the evidence. Right. Show me the evidence and let's have a fair trial. When it was Kyle Rittenhouse, I said, show me the evidence. When it was Alec Baldwin, I said, show me the evidence. What you're doing right now is you're analyzing the evidence because the evidence has been presented to us.
Yes.
And so now you can conclude a legal analysis based on the severity, the weight, the credibility of that evidence. What we have here, we have no charges. We have some statements. Mm-hmm. And apparently the judge is telling the people who made the statements that they're not allowed to make those statements.
These are witnesses supporting the Tate brothers being told they did not recognize that they were being enslaved. So when this happened, and the question was, people were like, is the machine coming after him, or did he do this? And a lot of people were like, well, the things he said. I'm like, at this point, when you get witnesses who are like, we're here to speak in support of this man, and the judge goes, nah, you're brainwashed. Get out. All right,
let's
that's it.
read that. A clinical psychologist did an assessment, and then it was
described as extrajudicial
evidence.
But judges of the Bucharest Court of Appeal did take the report into consideration over yesterday's decision. This is crazy, dude.
So they found some clinical psychologists to
They've
write
not
an
been
assessment.
charged with any crimes.
Yeah, no crimes.
And
No
that's
crimes.
because
Still
of that
being held.
assessment, which by the way may also mean that if they're going to take this rule, so let's say they are charged, right? Let's say they are charged and they go to court, et cetera, et cetera. Does that mean that these two women can now not appear as witnesses because they've already been ruled against?
I don't know. I don't know
That this would be excluded from them. So it looks like they were appealing the actual. Because in Romania, they have this thing where you can be held while you're under investigation as opposed to before you've been charged. And then I think it was 30 days and they extended another 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of.
It's like 120 now.
Right. So point being is they're trying to fight that initial detention.
I think they lost that ruling already.
And well, I think that's the ruling that they're talking about here.
Yeah.
So they did away with it. My question is though, does that create a pretext? Does that create a situation where if they want to come in and appear as witnesses to say, excuse me, we're not victims, we're witnesses, that they're already going to say no?
Probably. That's what it seems like. Mm-hmm. That's literally what they're doing.
They're saying that because the women were lover boy trafficked, like they thought they were in love or potentially going to marry these guys, that they can't understand that they are actually being recruited.
Women have no agency, I guess.
Don't I know it?
Yeah, they can't make decisions for themselves, apparently.
So what you're saying is repeal the 19th Amendment?
I didn't go that far.
No, I mean, I was just saying. I mean, isn't that the obvious? Well, so
in Romania, perhaps, can women vote in Romania?
The underlying subtext of this is exactly what you just said, though, because in this clinical psychologist, and again, we're responding to what the court has ruled. We're not saying these things, but the logical conclusion of what you're saying is that clearly that women have no agency because men lie to them. And so women are not responsible for their actions. And if women are not responsible for their actions and their decisions, then why should we put women in a position where they're making the most important decisions, life and death, war and peace, trade, that we should take this away from them because these evil men with, by the way, Ian, of course, with these financial campaigns, these well-funded campaigns that are used against these poor women, that they're just being victimized over and over and over. And that's why we should take this pressure, this burden off.
Take a look at this famous meme image.
I love this one.
It's a poster. It says, Jake was drunk. Josie was drunk. Jake and Josie hooked up. Josie could not consent. The next day, Jake was charged with rape.
Yep.
A woman who is intoxicated cannot give her legal consent for sex, so proceeding under these circumstances is a crime. It only takes a simple day to ruin your life. Think about it. Be responsible.
I can't read the bottom.
The woman has no agency and is not responsible for raping
Jake.
Jake.
Does it say who made it?
You can't really see. Something university.
Yeah, some university.
Yeah.
Always.
I'm really concerned about this consent conversation because I understand if someone is being trafficked in some way or like put through some hell and they are brainwashed into thinking that everything's fine, and then they come out and they tell everyone, hey, everything's totally fine, and you're like, okay, I can see that situation. What do they call that? Stockholm syndrome, where the victim actually thinks that the captor is a good guy. You know, I get that. But at the same time, if someone consents to something, no matter what, you can't, if you sign a contract under duress, the contract it's not a real contract. So I understand that when you
Prove
consent.
duress.
But
Exactly. And we can't retcon what happened a decade ago.
Also,
if I start coming out and being like, all the movies I made when I was back in Hollywood, I was being trafficked. So take them all down.
This is different. Like, these women are trying to say we are not under duress. Like, how do you prove that you're not under duress if the court says you are, right?
Like if you are accused of a crime and then you bring two witnesses who say, we've worked with them, they're good guys, we love and respect them, and the judge goes, you're brainwashed, dismissed, you're going to stay in jail. That's what I'm talking about. Now, look, perhaps the mistake the Tate brothers made was setting up a base of operations in Romania, of all places. And I don't know why they chose that place. Because, I mean, it's not like Eastern Europe is known for, like, being anti-corrupt.
Right.
It's like, you take a look at what's going on in Ukraine right now.
It bit him back. It bit him back. He said that's the reason he was there, is because you could get away with a lot of things. But they didn't think that this would actually happen, you know?
Of course it will.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
Like,
That's what
you
I
know, the
think,
thing
too.
about the U.S., I was talking to, well, I'll keep the story relatively private because I don't know if it's a public story, but they do this race. I forgot what it's called. They race across Russia. And because there's so much corruption, you can go 120 miles an hour, you get pulled over, you just hand cash to the cop and you're free to go. Like you can't do that in the United States.
Which, by the way, that's most countries in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Not in the United States, though.
Yeah.
We talk about our political corruption, but let's be honest, like, cops tend to not be corrupt. I mean, we have corrupt cops. We have abusive cops. But I guarantee you, if you get pulled over and say to the cop, you're going to offer him a bribe, he's going to be like, out of the car, you're under arrest.
Yeah, no, that's
and
just our politicians.
Right. Politicians are different.
Right.
They get bribes from the lobbyists.
Right.
But a cop is going to lock you up and be like, I'm not going down for what you just did. I'm taking the note. You offered me a bribe. You're under arrest.
I'm deeply concerned about this Andrew Tate thing at this point. This is really starting to
Yeah.
bother me because
Why?
these girls were very plain that they weren't being roughed up by them, that they weren't being trafficked by him. They specifically said it out loud to the judge, and it was dismissed. Like, this is insane.
They made videos about it where they were like, this is not true. They're calling us victims. We're not victims. And they're like, yeah, they're just brainwashed.
I mean, show me where's the evidence? Like, the passport was taken and it was put in the safe, and they were told that they couldn't get the passport back, and so they were stuck in the country until they worked off their debt. Lay that out for me, right? If that's what happened, lay it out.
Yeah.
Show it to me. Show me the evidence. And I've always said this: name the names, show me the evidence. Let's have it all out. I'm perfectly happy with looking into any of those situations.
Yeah.
But for some reason in this case, you don't seem to get that. And by the way, if that ends up being what it is, then okay, so be it, right?
Totally.
But show me that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the process is concerning because I think they're treating the process as the punishment.